YouTube, how we doing, family? It's your boy Yo, and there's another episode of Yo Hoops. We go through every NBA game every day. Today's Tuesday, April 8th, and we have a 10-game NBA card. I'm gonna walk you through every game, let you know which sides I like, and stick around because I have 3 highlighted selections for today. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's recap. Recapping yesterday, we cashed our highlighted play of the day. We took the Sacramento Kings and Detroit Pistons over 230. Overall, it was a crazy day. We turned lemons into lemonade. We swept the 2-game card and my 3-player props. Zach LaVine had 44 points. I'll let you guys know we were getting plus money for over 21 and a half. It was a small card, but we cashed in a big way. Let's keep that momentum rolling. I got 3 highlighted plays for you today, so let's go 3-0. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. In our first matchup of the evening, we have the Atlanta Hawks in Orlando taking on the Orlando Magic. Magic are laying 4 points, and the total is 226. The Magic currently sit in the 7th spot in the East, 1 game ahead of the Hawks in 8th. If the Hawks win this game, they flip the seeding, so I expect both teams to be locked in. I low-key hate back in the Magic, I really do. Paolo and Franz always let me down, but here I do think it's the right side. Despite all the letdowns, the Magic are still 15 and 11 against the spread as home favorites, 5th best in the league. We haven't seen a dominant performance from them in a while, and they probably lock in here for something like an 8-point Magic win. As always, I lean towards the under, but we're taking the Magic laying the 4 as our first selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Chicago Bulls in Cleveland taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs are laying 13.5 points, and the total is 239. The Bulls injury report is a mile long coming into this one. Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and Kobe White are all ruled out. Then Nikola Vucevic and Josh Giddey are both listed as questionable. If Kobe White and Josh Giddey sit, the Bulls are in big trouble. The Cavs are without Donovan Mitchell, and he is the engine of this team, but with their depth and the Bulls this short-handed, I think they run them out of the gym. The Cavs at 80% win this game by 20 points. We're taking the Cavs laying the 13.5 as our first highlighted selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Memphis Grizzlies in Charlotte taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Grizzlies are laying 15.5 points, and the total is 227.5. We just cashed with the Grizzlies as our highlighted play 3 days ago, but that doesn't mean now we're laying 15.5. The Hornets have been competitive as home underdogs all season, and this is why. The books overpriced these lines. The Grizzlies probably win this one by something like 9 points. Miles Bridges, Seth Curry, Mark Williams, these guys can compete, and I wouldn't be too shocked if they have a chance to win this one outright down the stretch. We're taking the Hornets plus the 15.5 as our next selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Washington Wizards in Indiana taking on the Indiana Pacers. Pacers are laying 19 points, and the total is 236. These teams last faced off on March 27th, about 2 weeks ago, and the Pacers won that one 162 to 109. A 53-point win, and I'm still not rushing to the window to lay 20. Siakam and Ben Shepherd are questionable, and I always tell you guys, to lay 20 plus, you have to execute from start to finish. The Pacers are not a team that I could trust to execute at that level. I wouldn't be surprised if they win it by 40, but I can't put my money down expecting them to do so. It's a lean, but we're taking the Wizards plus the 19 as our next selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Boston Celtics in New York taking on the New York Knicks. Knicks are laying 1.5 points, and the total is 221.5. The Celtics injury report is concerning coming into this one. Keep an eye on who goes. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Porzingis are all listed as questionable. Then Al Horford is ruled out. The Knicks come into this one healthy. Jalen Brunson is playing. I see this as the perfect storm for the Knicks. They've been competitive, winning games banged up. Now your ace is back on the floor in Madison Square Garden. Say less. The Celtics are coming off of a win and cover against the Wizards, and you guys know what they do coming off an ATS win. 20, 36, and 1 against the spread, second worst in the league. You might be able to get a better number if Tatum or Brown ends up playing later in the day, but we're taking the Knicks on the money line. You can find it for around minus 120 odds as our second highlighted selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the New Orleans Pelicans in Brooklyn taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Nets are laying 3 points, and the total is 213.5. This is probably my least favorite game on the board. Both teams are significantly banged up, and the Nets just let me down as a highlighted play, so I feel like I can't trust him. Keon Johnson has been added to the Nets IR. He's one of the guys that's been hooping off their bench, and in what should be an evenly matched contest, I'll take the points in my back pocket. I can see this coming down to a 3-point Nets win, so try and find the half-point hook if you're betting on this. I'm probably staying away, but I lean towards the Pelicans plus the 3 points as our next selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Los Angeles Lakers in Oklahoma City taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder are laying 15.5 points, and the total is 226.5. I want to know what you guys think. Comment below if the Lakers can beat the Thunder in a 7-game series. We saw this matchup just 2 days ago, and the Lakers won that one 126-99. Put belt to ass in Oklahoma City. The books have the Thunder priced tonight for revenge. LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, and Dorian Finney-Smith are all listed as questionable, but I think they all go. The Lakers are known to manipulate the injury report. From a betting perspective, this is easy. I have to take the points with the Lakers. They match up well with the Thunder, and they just got a 30-point outright win in the exact same situation. As a fan of the game, I want OKC to win this one by 20 and remind everyone who they are, but laying 15.5 in this spot feels irresponsible. We're taking the Lakers plus the 15.5 as our next selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves in Milwaukee taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Wolves are laying 5.5 points, and the total is 222.5. It was announced yesterday that Damian Lillard is cleared for basketball activities in about 10 days, so that is good news for Milwaukee. They're still without him here, though, and Pat Connaughton is listed as questionable. The Wolves come into this one at full strength, and I think they beat up on the Bucks, no problem. Everyone talks about how this Wolves team is built to beat the Nuggets, which is true, but the Bucks have a similar construct with Giannis as the focal point of their offense. Minnesota has enough bodies to slow down Giannis, and they have the advantage in the backcourt with Dame out. I lean towards the under. I do expect a lot of defense to be played, but we're taking the Wolves laying the 5.5 as our next selection of the evening. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Golden State Warriors in Phoenix taking on the Phoenix Suns. Warriors are laying 10 points, and the total is 226.5. I've been mentioning that I expect a last hoorah from the Suns, and I think we get it here. Their season is done. I don't expect them to make the play-in, but that doesn't mean they can't spoil the seeding for the Warriors. If the Warriors lose this game, they likely move into the 8th spot in the West. Misery loves company, and I think the Suns want to see the Warriors in the play-in. The glazing on the Warriors is getting insane. Everyone expects them to win every game, and I think they have a legitimate chance to lose this one outright. Steph is their only true scorer. Jimmy averages 17 points, so if Steph has an off night, they're in trouble. I expect 30-plus points from Devin Booker. Lock that in. And we're taking the Suns plus the 10 and split on the money line as our third and final highlighted selection of the evening. Let's move. In our last and final matchup of the evening, we have the San Antonio Spurs in LA taking on the LA Clippers. Clippers are laying 12.5 points, and the total is 228. The Spurs have been covering at a high clip recently, but I don't expect a competitive game tonight. Of course, the Spurs are still significantly banged up, and the Clippers are the type of team that doesn't take their foot off the gas. As home favorites, they're 19-7 against the spread, and winning this game would put them in the 4th spot in the West. I expect them to be locked in and run the Spurs out of the gym. We're taking the Clippers laying the 12.5 as our last and final selection of the evening. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We're now 4-5 on highlighted plays in April, but let's make these last few days our biggest yet. The 5-0 sweep yesterday was nice, but let's keep that momentum rolling and go 3-0 today. I appreciate your support so much. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'ma catch y'all. Peace.